Gaza has been under siege for 10 years and has gone through 3 devastating wars in that time. But there's a weapon being used against the tiny territory that you may not know about: electricity. The UN once warned that Gaza would become uninhabitable by 2020, but the electricity crisis has brought that date even closer. An 11-year-old child in Gaza has never known a day with more than 12 hours of electricity. Now, it's down to as little as 3 or 4 hours a day. And that's by design. So what has that meant for the 2 million Palestinians living there?
مية بتجيش إلا بالكهرب، فيش مية في بيوتنا.
الحياة بالنسبة لكل شيء مش حقد المصانع، كل شيء كله تدمر.
الكهرباء لها قاطعة 32 ساعة ما شفناها.
كل الكرة الأرضية عبارة عن قرية صغيرة، كل الناس متواصلة مع بعض، شبكة واحدة. لما أنت ما يكون في كهرباء، أنت منعزل تماماً.
To make sense of why this is happening, here are a few things to know. First, Gaza is not an independent country. When Israel was created on most of the land that was Palestine, hundreds of thousands of Palestinians were forced to flee their homes. These refugees comprise around 70% of Gaza's population. Israel occupied Gaza in 1967, and it's an occupation that still hasn't ended. Even though the Israeli military isn't currently based in the Gaza Strip, it maintains an air, land, and sea blockade that's effectively strangled the territory and its people. Over 80% of the population is dependent on international assistance. They've never had the chance to develop their own economy or infrastructure, and that means they're forced to rely on outside sources who control how much electricity they receive. Those outside forces want to drive the group that rules Gaza, Hamas, out of power. Hamas won the last Palestinian elections in 2006. The group kicked Palestinian Authority security forces out of Gaza a year later because the PA is aligned with Hamas's political rival Fatah. This followed a bloody power struggle between the two groups. Ever since then, the PA and the countries that border Gaza have been squeezing the territory to get at Hamas. Israel is the group's main enemy, and Egypt views Hamas as an ally of the Muslim Brotherhood. Their methods of punishing Gaza have included closing borders, banning imports and exports, and even limiting food and medicine. Here's how they've specifically used the electricity supply as a weapon. Israel bombed Gaza's only power plant and its fuel storage tanks. It also stopped replacement parts from being imported to fix the damage. Egypt has shut down the tunnels that were used to smuggle fuel for the power plant, and the country only rarely allows fuel trucks to pass through its border. The Palestinian Authority pays Israel for the power plant's fuel and any additional electricity that Israel supplies the territory. The money comes from Gaza's taxes. The PA has now imposed new taxes on the people of Gaza while reducing payments to Israel. This has led to daily blackouts in Gaza that have lasted for as long as 20 hours. The real victims of all this are the people of Gaza. The UN, Human Rights Watch, Amnesty International, and many other organizations have called the siege on Gaza collective punishment, and that's deemed illegal under international law. But the siege continues to devastate Gaza, leaving its health services overwhelmed, sewage untreated, businesses stalled, and creating the highest unemployment rate in the world. All of this and no way out for the people trapped there. Things are steadily getting worse, and the chances of another war are on the rise. Unfortunately, few people will pay attention until then.